Bible. This is the place where we help you grow in your love for God, your love for others, and even your love for yourself. I am Aaron McCoy. I am your host and Bible reader. It's been a little while. If you've been watching me, you know that this tends to be a pattern that I'll be good for a couple of months, I'll be consistent, and then I'll drop off for a few months and then come back. So God willing, hopefully we can keep this going further. A few things that have changed since I've last been on here. I do have shirts that I have now that you can find on Etsy. If you just look up, either go through my Facebook page or look up Geek with the Bible on there, you should be able to find it. I got a lot of shirts that are really meant to spark conversation with people. I know sometimes with evangelism, it feels very awkward to get the conversation started. And so sometimes I've found certain good Christian shirts can kind of start it going, have them be the ones to start it, and then you can share what you have come to find with the person of Jesus and how revolutionary he is. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Galatians. And I will say right off the bat, this scripture we're going to read, it's a little weird and it's a little PG-13, but hey, it's the Bible, so we're going to read it. Galatians 5:12, the Apostle Paul says, "I wish those who unsettle you would emasculate themselves." Paul was mad. Paul was really, really mad. Yes, that does mean what you think it does. He just said, we're going to go, I want to go full Lorraine Bobbitt on you. So we say, well, why? Why is he saying that? What's going on here? Well, first off, yes, it is weird. And I think part of it is a joke. I think that this is meant to have a flare of humor to it. Now, it is certainly a very biting humor. It's not humor like, a little comic book thing. It's definitely has some real anger, I think, and real frustration, I think, is in this comment. But I don't think Paul's actually saying, I really do want you to just chop it off. I know my pastor had mentioned before that I can't remember the exact Greek words, but it was kind of like a pun. There were two similar sounding words, and one of them, it's like what people would call themselves, that was like the cut, and it was like the clean cut, the nice, smooth, very precise cut there. Because the big controversy that was going on is that these Christians were coming out of the Jewish culture. And they were saying, if you want to follow Christ, you have to follow all of our regulations, all of our ceremonies, all of our customs, like circumcision. That if you don't follow us culturally, then you are not actually saved. You're not actually loved by God. You're not actually on your way to heaven. And Paul is saying, no, absolutely not. The gospel is that God takes you right where you are, and that you don't have to follow all of these customs from the old law. And so these people were calling themselves, the cut, the smooth cut. But then the term that Paul used was like a play on that. Instead of a smooth cut, it was sort of like this, like something that you'd see on Food Channel, just dicing to pieces kind of a thing. And, so Paul's saying, look, if you're so insistent that people get circumcised, well, why don't you just go varsity, okay? Why don't you just go pro, go all the way, cut the whole thing off? So this really brings up some questions that we need to ask about mockery, about mocking, about comedy in general, really. Should Christians use mockery? So, we could easily just say, oh, Christians shouldn't mock, period. Jesus says, love your enemies, okay? So let's just not do it. But the Bible is actually more complicated than we make it. We try to make the Bible black and white, simple, just right, wrong. But it's not. There's so many things where it's like, look, no, there is a time and a place for different things. Now, sometimes we need mockery because there are things that really do deserve to be mocked. There are certain notions and ideas that we really should be scornful of, that we really should be putting down. But sometimes there's some other reasons. So if we want to look at a good example, if we go into 1 Kings 18. Let me look it up here. 1 Kings 18:27. So we've got this guy named Elijah. He's a prophet in the Old Testament. And he says, man, we're going to have a showdown, okay? So you, prophets of Baal, you think that you've got the true God, and we think that we have the true God, and we keep arguing, but let's go ahead, let's settle it. Why don't you go ahead, build yourself an altar, you pray to your God for him to bring fire down, and I shall do the same, and whichever God brings down fire, we will know that that is the true God. And so the prophets of Baal say, oh, sounds good. Oh, all right, agreed. And so they go out and they are, doing their whole chanting and singing and all their rituals and everything, screaming out for Baal to bring fire. They need that fire. And then they're trying, but then there's nothing. There's silence. And then we read here, 1 Kings 18:27, at noon, Elijah mocked them, saying, cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he is musing, or he is relieving himself, or he is on a journey, or perhaps he's asleep and must be awakened. I mean, dude, that's complete mockery. Complete mockery, saying, I bet, you know what, your God, your almighty, incredible God, I bet he's just on the can, isn't he? That's mockery. So why do this? What is the time for mockery? Well, sometimes people, prideful people, sometimes mocking something, sometimes it can get through. Sometimes it shows them that what they believe, if it's wrong, if it's a wrong belief, that it really is ridiculous. Now, there's a guy who I'll listen to sometimes named David Wood. He deals a lot with Islam and kind of refuting a lot of their stuff. And there are sometimes I do think that he goes too far. There are sometimes I think that it's too much. But he mocks the daylights out of Islam and and Muhammad, mocks them ruthlessly. And he's found that sometimes, because the culture is very much one of honor and dignity, to have such mockery done, it actually made them start to question and say, is this really true? And he's gotten a lot of people to come out of it, many of them to come to Christ. And so I can't denounce all of that. I have to say that there is times for that. Sometimes mocking. Now, you might put up a show, you might put up no. But then, like, afterwards, man, you think about it, it's like, man, is what I believe really that dumb? And I've had that myself. I've had sometimes where people have mocked Christianity and Christ, and I've had to really think through it and say, like, is that true what they said? It does kind of hurt, but I think whenever something's challenge back, look at it, dig into it, try to see, is that right? Was that mockery too much? Is that a oversimplification that they're making? Maybe it's something that they're mocking Christianity instead of, Christ himself, which there's a lot of times Christianity deserves to be mocked. There's a lot of us, or maybe Christians deserve to be mocked, because this can expose us. It can kind of make us look at ourselves. But, they often say, the same hot water that what is that? The same one that softens the potato hardens the egg. So I think that's what happens with mockeries, that there are some instances where it will get through to people, but we do have to embrace the fact that there are also some people that mocking is going to harden them more. It is going to put up more defenses. It is going to have more barriers to listen to what you have to say. And it's so hard dealing with mass media because we're talking to so many different people. We're not able to parse through and figure out exactly, oh, you're the one who needs to just, be ridiculed a little bit. No, you're the one who I really need to sit down and have a coffee with, or really just private message and just have a real conversation with over these matters. We don't know how that is or how to get that. So it's very tricky to figure out. So I hope we've established that there are things that deserve to be mocked. I mean, we see even God himself says, Psalms 2:4, he who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision. So there are things that yes, we should mock. But as I said, our words can be very destructive. They can harm. Like I try as much as I can that to use whenever I'm cutting, if there's something type of sin issue, something that I've got to cut, I try to be as much as I can like a surgeon. I try to be careful not to harm the whole person. But the problem with mockery, sometimes it's just like a battle axe, sometimes it can really harm those who honestly were really hoping to help. Now that's a problem, but then the other problem is not only the harm that we could cause to others, but also the harm that can be done to ourselves. So the scriptures over and over again has these warnings about becoming a mocker, or the term used in the ESV is a scoffer. A couple scriptures, Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. Proverbs 21:24 says, scoffer is the name of the arrogant, haughty man who acts with arrogant pride. So, for you, my friend, my Christian brother or sister, something I think that we need to do have so much more caution with. We need to be so much more on guard of becoming Pharisees, the graceless, high and mighty religious leaders who look our nose down at everybody who isn't us. I am probably not going to be a drug dealer. I'm probably not going to become a gang member. I'm probably not going to become some homicidal maniac. All these things I'm probably not going to do. But there is a very good chance that I could become a judgmental, self-righteous hypocrite. And in many ways I am already. And it's something I'm very slowly, hopefully I pray to God that I'm a hypocrite in transition and that by his grace I'm getting better. But it's so easy whenever we get into this mocking mode to just be the one to stick our nose down at everybody. And it just, I mean, it's fun. It is fun to do that, but I can tell you, it feels like the work of the flesh. Even though I might have scriptures attached to it, even though I might say, oh, I'm telling them scripture. Oh man, we're going to talk about this in a few later episodes, but man, it is not walking by the Spirit. There are so many times whenever it's like, ooh, I got him with that comment. Ooh, burn. I got this group with that meme. I got this person with that. Oh yeah, we got him. I don't know. I mean, there are times to say, as I said, there are times for mockery. And this is why we really have to check our hearts. I'm not going to tell you not to make the memes. I'm not going to tell you not to mock false ideas, things that are plaguing the church, things that are out there. But man, we have got to be so careful that we are not becoming the thing that we are trying to destroy. It's so easy. It's so easy to fall into that. I know I'm sure some people aren't going to like it. I got a Rick and Morty poster back here. It was a gift. But I am a fan of the show. Now, some of the stuff on it is awful and horrible and are not things the scriptures would endorse, but it deals with some issues that I think are really important for Christians to deal with. These existential things about meaning and purpose and it's for me, it's opened up a lot of conversations. I think it's really, Paul, he read pagan literature. He used pagan literature to talk to the people in Acts 17. So I kind of see it that way. Now, the thing within this is that this guy, Rick, who is this scientist, he thinks, he's like the smartest man in the world. And he actually is the smartest man in the world. But yet, he's miserable. He's deeply, deeply miserable. And even though it seems like he has all of the answers, he's still, oftentimes suicidal, oftentimes in a drunken stupor, oftentimes, he's not somebody that I want to be. And that's what I see so much. Like we can just sit in the place and laugh at all these other people and say, and that's what he does. So he's constantly mocking all these idiots. So like there's this guy, Jerry, who's, he's just sort of a dullard. He just kind of goes with the flow. He's a coward. And people usually mock him and laugh at him because, well, he's not actually trying to deal with life. He's not trying to deal with the complexities. He's just kind of accepting everything as is. But there's a part whenever Rick, he says to Morty, because they're going through different dimensions and they're leaving their old dimension behind. And he's like, well, what about my mom and dad? He's like, well, what about the reality where Hitler cures cancer? Sometimes, Morty, the answer is just don't think about it. And so here you even had Rick saying, look, sometimes there's things that you just can't think about. There's sometimes things that you just can't dive into. And so we see this, that even with this arrogance, that there's still this thing of, I can't think that deep about this, which actually that's one of the things, amazing things with the scriptures. I feel like we can go that deep. I think that we can face some of the real depth and tragedy of life because we have a hope to it. We don't have to pretend that things aren't as hopeless as they seem here, because we do have a hope beyond this life. And that's a little bit of a tangent, but the idea that I'm trying to get at with all this is that sitting at the seat of scoffers leads to misery as well. And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the dullard. I don't want to be Jerry, but I don't want to be Rick either. Another inappropriate show that I think does a little better, I think, is South Park. Once again, now the thing that I like about South Park, besides the horrible, crude stuff that they do, and both of them, the interesting thing with these is that they mix really crude humor sometimes with some really profound truths. Something I like about South Park is that they mock everyone. Like, they mock everyone. So they do have, things that poke fun at Christians, but man, they have got these amazing ones where they laugh at atheists. They're in the future and they're having all these wars about who has the best science, and you're like, oh my science, what's going on here? And you have these otters who are saying like, no, we have the true science, for we eat our food off of our tummies. Those humans, they cut down trees and make tables. Whenever it is not reason, it is the true science is to eat food off of your bellies, and just mock. And there's a lot of these things. There's a lot of them where they mock atheists just as much as they mock any other religion. And the thing that I like about that, and so this is one of the key takeaways here. One of the ways that we can use mockery in a way that does not make you a scoffer is to include yourself as one of the ones being mocked. Okay? This is the best way that I know how to do it, because the message of the scriptures is that no one is superior to anybody else. It is Christ. Christ is the one who sits on the throne. Christ is the perfect Son of God. Christ is the one that we kneel before. But all of us else, man, we got some issues. Seriously. Seriously, I know my heart. I know my actions. I know my hypocrisy. I know that there's some ways that I succeed and do well in following Christ, and I know that there's some ways that I don't. And I can't sit on a seat looking down at other people whenever I know I deserve the wrath of God just as much as anyone. I am a fool just as much as anyone. I'm not any better. And so, I'll try to do this. I'll try to, some of the memes that I have, I'll mock myself in it. I'll make myself the butt of the joke. So like I had one recently of, the popular meme, Henry Cavill standing all proper and good, dashing at the suit, with the suit on. And, you've got, what's the name? Aquaman. I know the name. I'm just forgetting it right now, but he's like sneaking up on him, is about to tackle him. And, the guy in the suit, says, "Oh, me thinking that my theology is 100% correct." And it's like that verse I never paid much attention to. That's the thing coming up, about to clobber this guy, because that's the thing. That's where I've been. There has been times when I've been arrogant in my theology and thinking that I know everything. And then you hit something that just knocks you over. And you realize, man, I've got a lot more to learn. I've got a lot more to learn. And so, if we allow ourselves at times to be included in the butt of the joke, it is still mocking others. It is still but they identify it. So the weakness that they see in you, they will often see in themselves. And so what my hope is, when I created that meme, is not to say, "Oh, look at that Aaron, he doesn't really know what he's doing," but to say, either one, "Oh, I've been there. I've had that happen." And then also to question, well, can I still be there? Are there still things that I'm not, don't have a firm grasp on? Well, maybe I should be reading my Bible more. Maybe I should be digging in more. Maybe I should be questioning things more. Maybe I shouldn't just say, "Oh, I know it. I'm good. Let's stop. I'm done. I know. That's settled." No, we need to keep digging deeper. But I think that helps. I think the mockery of everybody. But so the difference with that and what I was saying with South Park. So South Park kind of says, okay, everyone's a fool, everyone's an idiot, everyone has things deserving of mockery, which is true. But then you're just kind of left with nothing. Like, you're just this sort of, I don't know what the word would be, but they're just like, there's just nothing. It's just sort of this baseless, like I think of like Beavis and Butthead, where they're just laughing at every dumb thing that they see and not realizing that they're truly the idiots, and, just laughing away and not knowing that all the laughter is going to end emptiness for them. But the thing is that we can laugh at all the foolishness and all of our absurdities and all of our folly. But we can laugh at that knowing that there's one who is actually worthy of praise. That there's one who is beyond mockery. I know people try. People mock God quite a bit. But when you realize, oh, this is the one who's actually worthy of praise. Oh, this is the one who is right, who is good. Man, that does something to me. Because, like, I can have the laughter. We can joke. We can belittle our stupidities and our follies and all these things, but seeing that there is a truth, that there is a real truth, that God is holy and just and he loves you, and that what we deserve for all the times that we're I like, don't you love it whenever that kid who's just a disrespectful, mocking punk, whenever someone finally has enough and and gets them, we see that it's in movies a lot, you know, and it's funny. It's funny. We love it. We love to see whenever the scoffer gets what's coming to them. But man, that's us. And God, with his justice, who should just have a ball of a time giving us exactly what we deserve. What does he do? He comes down in our place. Takes the death that we deserve. Take the punishment you deserve. God put on himself. He's worthy. He's worthy. And this is how, Jesus, he tells us to love our enemies. And that's how we're able to. Because we're not better than anyone else. So now I can't look my nose down on anybody. I can't do it. And so that's why, like, look, I don't want to be the language police here. Like, you really have got to get in tune. We're going to talk soon about following the spirit instead of following the flesh. But you've got to learn how to do that of whenever it's appropriate to use mockery. And when we really need to use gentleness. Whenever we need to use love. I mean, that's everything in the scriptures comes down to is love. So, what I can say to you to take away from this, whenever you do find yourself laughing at somebody else, laughing at, a dumb idea, something like that, do try to see, have a time to try to see and look at what it is that you're laughing at. Am I making myself better than somebody else? Am I putting myself on a pedestal? Even if they deserve it. Even if what you're laughing at is something that is worthy of mockery. Say, am I making myself superior? And you can still laugh, but include yourself in it. Laugh and then say, man, we do. That's something that actually I even really like. I love, I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier. I've done stand up before. I love comedy. And something I love is that whenever you see some of the more like the comics who they bring people together. They kind of laugh at all. Like you'll see this with like a lot of the black comics. They'll make fun of their own culture, but then they'll make fun of the white culture too. They'll make fun of all these different cultures, and everyone's all laughing at themselves together, all realizing that we're all our own kind of foolish people. So I want to try to do that. I want to promote that as much as I can. And also just if you're a meme maker out there, know that none of this is pointed at anybody directly. I'm including this is a lot for me and all of us. But yeah, as we're making memes and as we're making content, let's try to include ourselves in the joke. Okay. So that's our way to love God, love others. And you know what? The whole thing of laughing at yourself. Last bit. I know I'm keep drawing this out. I'm a true preacher, drawing this out over and over again. The know that you can say things kind about yourself as well. You don't have to always be the butt of the joke, because that's the other thing about the scriptures is that even though we all deserve God's wrath, the fact is that he's given us his life. He's remade us. He has put his spirit in you. He has washed you clean. He has made you new. You are now given the righteousness of Christ. So it's okay to crack fun at yourself here and there. But please know that God has placed tremendous value on you. It's not based on your own self. It's a gift. So just remember that as well. So, all right, I am rambling here. It is late. I am very, very happy to be back. Thank you guys. God bless. Hopefully I can keep this going the entire year. That's the goal. 2022, every single Friday, every single week, new videos. I might dabble into some other things with videos, but every Friday is a new video. That is the goal. So thank you. Aaron McCoy signing out. This is where the Geek with the Bible. We help you grow in your love for God, your love for others, and even love for yourself. Peace.